So an all-new Dancing with the Stars season is upon us, and this season they've done a lot to revamp the show and a lot of changes, some as the result of the pandemic and some as a result of the social unrest in the country. So in this video, I'm going to share why I think the show is actually going to hurt itself by appeasing not only the social justice crowd, but by playing into the fear and the panic around the coronavirus. First, let's talk about the changes that are actually happening this season. So they went from 2 hosts to 1 host. So the former hosts were Erin Andrews and Tom Bergeron, who Tom was actually the original host and has been on every season up till now. This is, I think, the 29th season. And so they're both out, and replacing them is one person who is Tyra Banks. Now, a lot of people speculated that the reason they did this was to push the diversity agenda and to appease the social justice crowd that came roaring into the streets over the past few months, because this announcement was made after all the unrest in the streets. Another change that's happening is that the longtime judge Len Goodman, who is, if you're not very familiar with the show, he's the older British guy who's been on the panel pretty much every season, I think. And I think he also does the one in Great Britain as well. But he's being replaced with Derek Hough, who was a former pro dancer on the show, and the sister to Julianne Hough, who was actually a judge on the show for a few seasons. She was a pro dancer too. She's been in movies. She dated Ryan Seacrest. She's been around for a while now and pretty well known. But her brother is replacing that judge. And then the other thing that, from what I hear, is that they're going to have no live audience, and they are apparently not letting the stars or the professionals see their spouses and families. So they're really taking the social distancing quarantine thing to the extreme. I mean, I kind of understand why they're doing it, and I kind of don't. I understand why they're doing it for the facade they have to create to say that they're being extra careful around the coronavirus and everything. But one, I think it's going to create actually a lot of drama, because not being away from your spouses and then being with another person of the opposite sex, things could happen. I'll just say that. I also understand a little bit from a show perspective, meaning if there are rules or if their protocol for addressing the pandemic during taping is if you test positive or if you become sick from the virus, then you have to drop out, and that could be less weeks of a show, which means less revenue, less ad revenue, less viewers, and less money. So I kind of understand why they're doing it, but I don't also at the same time, because it's inevitable that this is going to happen. So, and like I'm going to say later, is I think the show is doomed anyway, so you might as well just go out with a bang and just do everything normal. But that's just my thought. So it's unclear at this point, though, how they're going to film live in the ballroom that they have in like a studio on the lot. I don't know if they're going to have the judges sitting next to each other or just maybe space them out a little more. Are they going to have them on each side of the ballroom? Do they even have the same set? Is Tyra Banks going to be standing like 10 feet away from them, interviewing them after they dance? I don't know how it's going to work. It'll be interesting to see how they kind of figure this one out, but we'll see. Now, as far as the cast goes, what has really hurt the show overall over the past few years as the landscape of entertainment is changing is that there's so many outlets for people to become stars nowadays that it makes it a challenge, I think, for the casting people to find people that people want to watch, if that makes sense. Maybe the show has gotten to a point where there are loyal viewers who are introduced to new people as a result of the show, but that's kind of opposite of the original intent of the show, which was to bring stars to dance, so something that they're not used to doing, and have people come watch. Now it's people come watch to see people maybe they don't know dance and maybe become fans of them. So it's kind of had this 180 thing where people come on there to get famous rather than coming on there because they're famous. And this has also hurt the show because you can't have like 100 people on the show. You can't have some of the bigger stars from Hulu and Netflix and Disney, but also athletes and actors and singers and broadcast personalities and YouTubers and models and fashion people. You can't have everybody in one season that everyone will know. So I think that has been a challenge for the show, and it's kind of what's led to them not being as big of a show as they used to be. And even if they do get the casting right now, the stars that exist in today's world are not at the same level of fame as they were decades ago, where there was only a few outlets to get famous and everyone knew what those outlets were and were engaged in them, or at least a lot of people were. So that's another kind of dynamic that's working against them that I don't know if they can really control. So it appears now that they are aiming for more of appeasing the viewer that is a reality show fan. So they try to get cast members that are on other reality shows, whether it's on Netflix Selling Sunset, what's her name? Chrishell Stause, who was married to This Is Us actor Justin Hartley, whether it's Tiger King, Carole Baskin, or it's a Bachelorette. I think Kaitlyn Bristowe, who is a Bachelorette, is going to be on the season. And what I did notice over the years is that Disney, which owns ABC, has been very strategic on what type of actors and what type of people they put on in certain situations, some radio personalities or TV personalities that they put on. And it's because they want to expose the Dancing with the Stars viewers to certain people that they know they want to work with on ABC in the future. So what you've noticed over the past few years is a lot of the people that have appeared on Dancing with the Stars have been on Disney Channel, or they've been on their broadcast networks like ESPN or ABC, and they eventually kind of start putting them in other roles on the networks as a result of their increased influence from being on Dancing with the Stars. Bobby Bones is one I think of because he was on radio, and now he's on American Idol, which is on ABC. So I think it's interesting that they do that, and it's actually, really smart. But I've talked to a few people in my life who are fans of Dancing with the Stars, and most of them have said that they don't want to watch this season anymore. It's coupled with a few things. One, well, first, they made a conscious decision not to watch. Usually they'll tape it, like record it or whatever, and then they'll watch casually throughout the season. If they lose interest, they lose interest, but they've watched pretty much every season. But this season they made a conscious decision not to watch because, one, they are sick of the whole perpetual coronavirus scare situation, so they're kind of sick of seeing that on shows. They saw through the whole going woke diversity points they were trying to score with Tyra Banks, because it was pretty obvious that it was happening like right at the same time that everything was kind of blown up regarding race and diversity. And then also they just kind of over the years have had a lack of excitement over the years, and they just feel like this is the right time to kind of bow out of the show. They've got like 3 different excuses, and so that's kind of what's happening. So I feel like it's going to reflect in the ratings, and I think personally the ratings will tank. And I also predict that ABC will not learn their lesson from this until it is too late, because they seem to be in their own little bubble about what people want to watch entertainment-wise. And to me, this is the worst time to have your TV show tanking, because right now people don't have a lot to do. Things are canceled outside of the house, meaning concerts, big events that they would normally go to. It's not as much fun to go eat out. It's not as much fun to go do things. So people are staying in a little more, and a lot of people are turning to entertainment. So if they're not turning to your entertainment, that is not good for you, considering that more people are at home willing to watch things at this point. Now I want to throw it over to you. Will you be watching this season of Dancing with the Stars? Have you watched it before, and are you changing your mind? Or have you never watched it and these things are actually wanting you to watch it even more? Let me know what you think. So when you head to the comments section, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe and turn on post notifications by ringing the bell if you have not already. And make sure to come back every day for new videos from me. And I cover all different topics from political to economic to social, and something like this topic right here is right down my wheelhouse because it kind of covers all the things political, economic, and social. And so I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.